Hello, hello, hello. So I have a bit of a different setup right now. It's kind of crazy, actually. I have my webcam up on that old telescoping stand for the first head rec of the Vinyl One. I have my iPad on clamped to the stand for the Vinyl 2. Those are really coming in handy right now. And I have my Zoom H6 directly in front of that on a tiny mini little tripod, and it's so crazy right now. It's a very janky little setup, but I've been really craving doing another art video. I know I tend to discredit myself a lot because I really enjoy doing these Second Life edits. But it is an art. It is putting some kind of talent to use, and I really enjoy doing it. So we are going to do another one of these. I haven't done one since, I want to say, maybe 2 years ago. And this time we will be checking out my process in Procreate, which is what I've been using pretty much exclusively lately. I only really use Photoshop if I have to. If there's a feature or something that Procreate doesn't have yet, then I'll use Photoshop if I have to, or if I have to do something really advanced. But for the most part, I'm really just loving Procreate, and I am excited to do a little art video showing you guys how I make these edits. And here we have Procreate. So here, Procreate shows you, when you open it up, it has this big tile interface of some of your artwork. And so yeah, let me kind of give you an example. If you follow me on Twitter, I did post this to Twitter like a few days ago or something. But so for example, this was a picture I took in Second Life on a green screen of a friend of mine. I basically told him that he had to pose for me and let me take some green screen pictures because I hadn't in a very long time done an edit of a male avatar in my newer style. I think the last time I did one I was still very basically learning. So I took this and I turned it into this. I don't have I can't do I can't pull the other picture in and do a side by side right now. I mean, actually, maybe I could. Hold on. Okay, so I inserted the original image over my edit as close as I could as far as the positioning. But if you'd like to see a little before and after, so you can see that I added much more shadows, highlights where they all belong. I really increased the stubble, the little highlight on the nose, and the facial jewelry, and the things that I'm most proud of with this one in particular is the full redo of the hair, the top part of the hair, and the moving of the Adam's apple to the proper place. So if you see the before, we have this, the neck is all sort of messed up because he had it's called a neck sheath in Second Life, where it blends your body skin into your head skin. I know that sounds crazy to somebody who doesn't play Second Life, but so I really fixed the neck. I moved the Adam's apple because he does have his head turned, but the neck wasn't turned as well. So I moved that, added a lot of stubble, finished the hair, added a lot of detail. I added a bunch of detail to the bracelets. I changed the tone a bit with this overlay layer here to kind of match this grungy background that I put in behind him. So again, before, after, much more detailed. And I'm really happy with how this came out. So I took a few pictures in Second Life over the last week or so. This was one of them, and I like this a lot, but it's not going to require much editing. The light projector, goes from one side of her face to the other. I could blend the face into the ear a bit, fix where these sparkles are coming through the sweatshirt a little bit, but it really wouldn't take much editing. So although I think it's a really nice picture, maybe not suitable for making a video with, these are the two that I'm sort of tossed up in between. I like the whole aesthetic of this. I like this whole like sexy purple galaxy kind of thing with the like boudoir lingerie, I guess. It's not even really lingerie. And I really like that I would have, well, yes, it's lingerie, but it's, modest. And I like that I would have to fix a lot of the clipping here with the hair and the breast. So that would be fun as far as hair painting, but I'm really leaning more toward this one just because I love doing green screen portraits and I love just the attitude in this expression. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with this one. I can't decide if I want to crop it or not, but you know what? I think I'm just gonna decide on that later. So for now, the very first thing that I'm going to do is change the background color to 50% gray. And that's so that we have background. After we remove this here, green. So I'm gonna hit, I know you can't see my cursor really, I guess you'll be able to see it while I'm drawing, but you can't see what I'm touching. But this S logo up at the top, gallery, wrench, this one is adjustments, this one is selection. So I'm going to go to automatic, and I'm going to tap on the green, and we see that it's selecting too much, because we see the skin on her waist and her hair and her shoulder is all blue, so that's the threshold is too high. So I'm going to swipe, hold and drag to the, oh goodness, what the hell am I doing? So, I just hold and drag to the right to increase and the left to decrease. I'm going to tap this little part here near her elbow and a couple of these bigger chunks in the hair. These parts are all very strandy, so selecting them isn't really going to do much good. Like if I try to select this, it's just going to select some tiny dots, you know, so we will handle that in a different way. And in the meantime, we are going to 3-finger swipe down and cut. And here we have our 50% gray background. So as far as the hair, I very well may end up just removing a lot of this hair so that I can repaint it, but I'm going to keep it for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer and create a clipping mask. And so that's going to clip it to this bottom layer. I'm going to change the layer style, blending mode. Change the blending mode to color. And I'm going to select a brush. Let's go with the color blocking brush. This little square over here on the left is your eyedropper. So I'm going to select a color from the hair. And over here, this is my size slider. And this is my opacity slider. This is my color blocking brush, so I don't have any varying opacity at all. I want just a solid color for this brush. So what I'm going to do is just go over these green parts. And you see that it's changing the green to the color that I chose with the eyedropper. And there we go, our green hair is all gone. You see there's a fine green edge around some of the skin, and I may, on the thicker parts, it's really bad right here in the arm, I may go and touch this up. Oops. So I need to use my color picker. Choose the color that's very close to it. A very small brush. I don't want to go on the skin too much, really. So I'll just kind of get rid of that green. I'm going to smudge this skin out later, actually very shortly, so better to not have any green getting smudged in there. I'm just going to go over it on the dress too because it's a very similar color. I'm not going to worry too much about it. There's going to be a detailed edging put on. The edges of this shape anyway, so I'm really not worried about messing it up really bad. It's such a fine little area that you can barely notice it. That's actually a piece of little body glitter that caught the green. So she has this shiny body glitter all over her. And I've really been wanting to make like a Second Life fashion blog sort of thing where I do these portraits, make outfits and stuff. Like, I know it sounds lame. I really understand that Second Life sounds incredibly lame to many, many people. But for me, it is a creative outlet more than anything. I mean, look what I was able to do with this dress, and look at this jewelry. I had just bought these earrings and a big statement necklace from one of the shopping events. I changed the colors of the rings to, you can change the metal and the gem colors, so I changed them to gold and blue because I thought it would contrast really nicely with this orange dress. And she's got these black crystals here, you know, black nails, and these like sort of black opaly stones, septum ring, these like witcher-esque eyes, and I just thought this look was fun. It's really, I really just kind of get on and mess around, dig through my inventory, go shopping, change my look, change my facial features, hair. Sometimes I take pictures in world, like that other one in front of the saying, and sometimes I do them in front of a green screen. I find that doing them in front of a green screen is like, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot more artistic freedom. So, alright, now what I'm going to do, now that I've taken care of all of the green edges, is I'm going to click on this layer mask and I'm going to merge it down. So now this is all one layer. And now what I'm going to do is go to Liquify. Now Liquify will help me kind of adjust some of the places where the shapes get weird, because I mean these are avatars on, you know, rigged skeletons and stuff, and they're not perfect. Sometimes they look bendy where they shouldn't look bendy, or they stick out where they shouldn't stick out, or they clip. Like right here, the elbow is clipped into this hip. The hip is going out a little bit too wide. I don't know if I can fix this with Liquify. Now Liquify is just going to let me sort of push and pull the shapes. So I'm just going to pull that hip in a bit. There, that looks like a bit more of like a rounded hip. I'm going to, I think I'm going to push the elbow in a little bit right here. And maybe there. And in general, I think I want to push the arm in so it's a little flatter. But do you see how the wrist here looks like rubber? So what can we do with the wrist? Kind of pull it out. Pull this hand up. I don't know, I just kind of mess with it until it looks better. I wish that they had a before and after button, you know. Here it looks like, yeah, that looks a bit better. Arms and breasts are weird because the breast can come in front of the arm, you know? But, so it's like, is it clipping or is it in front of? I think I'm just going to leave it like that because that's not that big of a deal. And I think I'm going to push this shoulder down a tiny bit. Maybe. Yeah, I think that looks much better. I don't think there's really anything else that I need to do at the moment, so I'm just going to click off of that and go with my adjustments. So this is how it was before, after, before, after. It may not make a huge difference, but it's, I like it. So before I forget to do this, I'm going to fix this elbow problem. So I'm trying to think of how she would be standing. So is the elbow going to be in front of the body or behind it? You know? So my options are either I draw in this part of the elbow, or I draw in this part of the hip. let's think about, she's kind of got her hand like this. I think the hip would be forward. So I'm going to paint the hip in. So I'm going to pick a color closest to here. I'm going to use probably Duo. And I'm just going to turn the opacity down a bit. Oops, shit, Jesus Christ, I have to stop doing that. We're going to put it on a new layer with a normal blending mode, not multiply. So this is going to be our fix the hip. So this is kind of where that hip would be. Choose more colors that are closer. So this is really just like a lot of fill it in, blend it, fill it in, blend it. I'm going to use this soft blend smudge. And you see some of this is coming through, so we're going to go back in and add more paint right here. And actually, let's sort of blend this again. I think that the colors are okay right there. See, the more that we smudge it around, the more that the elbow from beyond comes in. So I'm going to select this color close. This is sort of the edge color. And again, we don't want these two colors, the arm and the hip, to be similar though, because we need the hip to stand out and be its own piece, you know. Can't blend into the elbow. Sorry, I know I keep hitting that. So that I think that can suffice for now. I may actually, let's make this a bit bigger, turn the opacity up a little bit, and sort of just gently fill it in a little. There we go. Something like that. Smudge it a little bit, very lightly. There. Now we have a hip. Voila. So, alright, now the thing I said I was going to do. So let's see our progress here. This was after fixing hip. This is while the elbow is clipped into the hip. Fixed hip, clipped hip. Not too bad. Not too bad. I wasn't so sure about it for a second, but we're gonna merge it down. So finalizing that. And now we'll work on our multiply layer. I'm gonna go back to my color picker and pick this darker brown that I had. Is that the one I had before? I don't know, whatever. It'll work fine. So we're on our multiply layer. We're gonna switch to our soft brush and just kind of eyeball it. Just go with the flow. Okay. Now again, just trust the process here. It's going to be messy. So I'm going to go in and darken everything on an edge. And like I said, we have this layer is clipped to the one below it. That means if I draw across this, it's only going to draw on these pixels, on this layer. So even if I draw outside of it, it's only going to draw on what it's clipped to. So I'm going to go ahead and darken everything up. And I know it looks terrible, but it won't look terrible forever. Especially here, it's a big one. We're going to darken a little boob shadow under the boob here and here. Slightly around here, not a whole lot. There, and some in here. And here, anywhere where there are already some shadows, we can just darken up a bit. Okay, so you see how terrible that looks. Now we're going to go in and we are going to blend it out. This is not the blender I like to work. I like to work with this one. So kind of just push it toward the edges and create some dimension, shape. These really do take me a long time. It is currently 4:20 in the morning and I might be up very late recording this. So I wish you could consistently see my cursor. That is one advantage of Photoshop, is that you can always see where my cursor is. Now, I really have no plan for this portrait. I have no idea how it will come out. I have nothing in mind, really. I just want to go for it. And we'll just see where it goes, you know? So there are going to be times when I bounce around a lot. I'm going to be like, oh, I should add more shadow here, or like now I feel like I should erase a little bit of what's going on here because it's making her hand very muddy right there. Then I'm going to go in and blend the shadowing back into it so it's not a harsh line. Sort of fix this hip area. And I'm constantly checking before and after. So, you know, how much dimension does that give us? I think it gives quite a lot. So now, I think what I'm going to do is do some finer shadows. So we'll do the, actually, do I want to change this to duo? We'll do the underside. I'm going to turn that opacity down a bit of the fingers. Kind of give this some dimension, like I said. You know, we're going to increase the shadows where we know shadows belong. Probably down in here a little bit. On the other hand, I don't know what's going on there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to paint over it. So not only is there going to be a shadow on towards the bottom of the fingers here, but there's also going to be a shadow on the skin right here from the hand. But we'll probably get to that a little bit later. We have to decide where the light source is coming from, probably from the top straight down. And in that case, you know, we're gonna put some more drastic shadows in places that would cast shadows. For example, even under all of these little details. And like I said, it can be messy right now because we're just going to touch everything up later. It's like when you are actually making real art. It always starts very messy. It's really always a process of taking a mess and slowly adding finer and finer detail to it. I don't really know what's going on here. I'll just put a shadow there and we'll call it a day. So we're gonna put shadows under these crystal pendants. And definitely under this jewelry. She's gonna get actually, this looks like it's coming from the underneath layer itself. Yeah, you see this line on the neck? I'm gonna smudge that out. Blend that in. There we go. It's not fully gone, but it's good enough. And look at this, where the makeup, that sort of harsh line of blush right there, we're gonna get that to blend down this side as well. And this doesn't look like it really wants to blend very much, so I'm going to go in and make a new layer. Change to my soft brush. I already picked up the color. And I'll just go over it with a low opacity. Kind of fill in a little bit of pink right there. It now looks like she has like this harsh line, you know? So I'm going to take this color, maybe go over like this. See, so much of this is a guessing game, you know? Oh, you know what? It's because I am using Change to Duo here. Let's see if that works any better. Brush properties can mess with things. It's okay, but it's looking a little dark. Yeah, I don't know why that is, fuck. That is so dark. So undo, smudge. Interesting. I wonder if it's because of the lighting that I chose when I took this photo. So, I don't know. Let's just kind of paint it in. Choose a color close to the ear. Why is that still so dark? Go away. We want to choose like this color. Yeah, get up there. So that obviously looks messy. I am going to do the same on this side. And blend. Hopefully this works. I think that side looks okay. And this side may look a little problematic, but we can fix it up later with some other touch-ups. There's always the option of hiding imperfections with hair. It's a big help. Okay, let's see. 44 minutes. This is gonna be a long ass video. So we've got some shadows that we need to get in there. I'm gonna take this, another dark brown. It's a different dark brown. I don't think it really matters very much. And what are we on? Duo. And we are going to darken, maybe not that dark, darken under the jaw. And other places that I like to darken are here under the lip. This will change the shape a little bit. Sort of curve that out and make it look a little fuller. The corners. the lip and under the upper lip here. We are going to, where do I want the light? I guess if the light is going to come straight down, then we're going to darken this area of the nose. And I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit boring to just have it come straight down. Which way do I want it? So we'll have the light come from the right. So this is going to cast a shadow on this side of her nose, and especially in here, more so than the other side. And the ears will be darkened a bit. Most of her face over here is going to be darkened. So I would say something like that. Shoulder. Where did this huge ass line come from? Oh. See, that's why you always work on a new fucking layer. Oh, good. I didn't do it that long ago. I'm not gonna mess with the shoulder and stuff right now. Let's just blend this out. It's not gonna be crazy. Just make it a bit darker for right now and increase it as we go, like I said. So this does need to be a bit darker here because this side of her neck is going to be way more in shadow than the other. Alright, so how are we looking? So now that I've decided where the light is going to come from, I'm going to change the shape of my brush to a soft brush for my eraser. And I think I'm going to lighten up a bit of the shadow from over here, the shoulder, because it's the side our light is going to come from. And a little bit right there. I think that might be good. I'm going to go back to blend to fix this. I forgot to shade under boob area. And push that shadow out towards the edge. I forgot to smudge this jewelry shadow, and now that I think of it, the embellishments on her dress, these are still like nowhere near done. I can definitely put a more drastic shadow. Jesus Christ, I forgot the hands too. So, hands. looking pretty good. I feel like I'm blending it out a little too much, but we can add more precise shadows later. I'm gonna make it look nicer, I think. Okay. So, I think this is alright for now. Oops. We should add more shadows. Oops. I feel like I accidentally erased that lip shadow that I had made. So I'm going to make this again. That's not as good as the first one, jeez. I'm also going to give her a bit of eye bags right here. These will help the eyes pop. And going to give her a little bit of contour with this face shape she's got going on. And then really go in with that nose. Now let's blend out this little fine line. Using the right blender, yes. I didn't mean to do that. Blender. I feel like I got something weird going on with this mouth shape. I can fix it somehow. Just some things you don't know what to do with until you're doing it. So these I'm just gonna tap blending. It's funny because my computer monitor screen looks so much nicer color-wise than the iPad is right now. I kind of dig this harsh shadow line here. So I'm just gonna maybe blend it, smudge it a little bit this way. Yeah, I like that. Eye bags are deceivingly important for giving the look of a bigger, deep set eye. You hear eye bags and you're like, what? who would want those, but you'd be surprised what they can do for a face. So I feel like her eye would sit right here, and you really have to think about where the eyeball would sit in the socket. And I'm gonna smudge this, but only a tiny bit, just so it doesn't look so I don't know, sketchy. I want it to look like a feature of her face, not something that I drew, you know? Just smudge that a bit. And I feel like there's a bit more we can do with the nose. Lower opacity here. Maybe, oh shit. Something like that. But maybe let's erase. Oh, that was too big. Erase here and smudge. Yeah, no. I don't know, it's looking strange to me. It's creating a shape that I'm not really feeling. Shit, too big. I think that's fine. And then, you know, I always go crazy and make the smudge brush way too big. There we go, something like that. That's looking good for the shaded side of the nose. Now, let's do another before and after. Check our progress here. I'm gonna merge this cheek fix down. So I think we've got much more dimension going on here so far. And I think it's probably time to add some highlights. Maybe. Yeah, let's add some highlights. So we're creating a new layer. We're gonna make it a clipping mask. I'm going to choose a skin color, like a mid-tone there. And I'm going to change this blending mode to add. And I'm going to use, actually I may even use a blender brush. That might be a little nuts. I don't know. It's gonna be too glittery. I just tested on the boobs. Let me see here. Blending. Color and shade. very soft line. It's like so small. I need it to be maybe something like, whatever. I guess I'm just gonna go with soft brush. I was looking for maybe something with a little more texture. Petals. It's so thin. Soft flat brush. Okay. Now for highlights. Our highlight is coming from our light source. It's coming from here. Then highlights are gonna hit the shoulder. Now I'm gonna blend out these edges a bit. So don't worry about that. Again, it's gonna look a little messy. We're gonna go with a narrow brush, maybe even smaller. We're gonna hit the tops of the fingers. And maybe knuckles. That looks a little goofy. But again, nothing that can't be fixed. Maybe lower opacity, increase the size, and sort of gives us a bit of a wash right here. Gonna hit this sort of edge of the hand. I know this looks insane right now, but it will be fine. I mean, the boob is going to cast a shadow right here, so let's do a little boob highlight. Because you gotta. And a little bit right there. We're gonna do collarbone. Let's go ahead and do the fingers on this hand. And the highlight here isn't so much that light is hitting it directly, but it's separating it from the shadow. Obviously, we're showing height and protrusion. So we have that there. Might make a little bit of a highlight on the hip right here. It's kind of, she's got her hips stuck out a bit. And now we will go into face. So the first thing we're going to do is highlight the forehead. And then we're going to go down. How do I want to do this? Nose, like here. I think I brow bone, the side of the nose right here, lip, now especially for a tiny detail, she has her lip curled up here, so we're going to lift that with the highlight, and it'll come over here a little bit and fall off. And we need a nice cheek highlight there. The eyes, I think, may get like a full redo. I don't want that thick. Jaw. Okay, so I guess I can put a little bit of a cheek highlight over here, just maybe not as crazy. I don't want it to look like light is hitting it too much. I just want it to look like it's coming forward. And yeah, I think now we're just gonna blend it. You see, a lot of this is very much just trial and error, and I just zone out and really have fun with it. I do want to put highlight on the clothing too. So put some highlight here and some stronger streaks here. Basically where it shows already, just kind of emphasize them. Although this can probably be, it'll probably end up getting blended out. And then I'll just have to reinforce it a little bit for detail purposes. So we're looking a little insane right now. So let's start blending. So right now I'm just blending the dress. I think my favorite part, other than seeing is sort of come to life with all the highlights and shadows, is doing the tiny details. So I'll go through and I'll do details, highlight and mostly highlight on the like the jewelry, the eyes, and oh my gosh, we haven't even gotten to the hair. The hair is a whole other ordeal. So just kind of smudging out a bunch of these highlights here. I really do kind of like I usually, I forget to take the body glitter off when I'm taking photos. And then, oops. And then I find myself trying to cover it up, but I kind of like it on here. So we have you see this weird issue with the cleavage right here? I think I'm going to try and paint over that with we'll use Duo. And I think I'll paint it. So I'll paint down into here. Smudge it. Turn that down. This needs to be painted over a bit more. So what I think I'm going to do is actually add a darker color. I'm just going to use the same color and put it on multiply. And we're going to make that like super boob. Cleavage, you know. Just kind of work with it until, until I like, shit. Look, see, I always accidentally add little streaks here and there. It'll happen because you're using your fingers to touch gesture all around. I actually think I might deepen this color a little bit, so I'm going to go to Alpha Lock, which will let me color only what's on here. I know that's really similar to a clipping mask. It's not the same, it's just super similar. Alright, so we're going to deepen this. Maybe like something like that. And I'm just going to color over it. And I'll change the color. And then I'm going to un-alpha lock it. And that'll let me get in there with the smudger. So, let's hope this comes out good. Sometimes you just don't know. You're like making it, and you're checking it, check and check again, and you just don't know until it's already done. I think that could be doable. I kind of like how they are not perfectly symmetrical. I mean, that's boobs for you. They're not perfectly symmetrical. So, maybe if I blend this back a little bit. Yeah, I think I like it. But I'm gonna add a little more depth right there. Smudge. Smudge it. Looks good to me. Alright, so now let's smudge out this face. Still don't know about these knuckles. Oh, am I working on the right layer? No, of course not. There we go. So very often I'll be like, why isn't this working? What the heck? Why isn't this working? And I just look and I'm like, just on the wrong layer. Just working away on the wrong layer. wondering why it's pointless. We got some muddiness going on in this. The arm on the right. I may fix it with paint or something. So let's work in this. Jaw highlight, chin highlight, highlight, highlight on the cheek. Brow bone, the far cheek, the lip, the forehead, and the nose. So, like I said, it's one of those things where you don't really see it coming together until it's together. Okay, what do we think? So I think I might end this video on, I am over an hour into this, and we can leave this at basic shadows and highlights. I do think I want to go in a little more with the dark color. We'll go with this dark reddish color here, so we're keeping things from being muddy. I want to add a bit heavier shading to under here and under here. I don't know about the boob. Maybe right there. And under here. We'll also have shading in the back, the arm, a bunch of shading back here. Really separate that hip. And let me see, this is the shoulder. I don't think there'll be much shadow there. This is going this way. So let us blend. I think really the key to avoiding muddiness is definitely to keep redder tones in even in your shadows, you know. I think I'm going to try and push this shadow a bit. That looks okay. And okay. Now I do want to do a more drastic face shadow, so I'm going to increase the size of this. I'm going to decrease the opacity. I'm doing it on a separate layer so that I can blend it independently from the rest of the shadows. Oh Jesus, I'm using the smudge brush. I'm telling you guys. Okay, so that looks really nice, I think. Could even be in a bit more here. Kind of build it up around the places that are really deep, like temples. And then here where the contour would be, come back out for the jaw a little, put a little bit of shadow under the lip / around the chin area. Even back here, even though the light is hitting it, the face is receding, you know? So let's blend. So this is something I'm only just now sort of starting to experiment with, is these strong shadows. So it may look a little strange because I'm definitely still like learning how to do anything but only front on or light directly down. Doing a directional light is much more challenging. I'm kind of considering just going over the whole side of her face a bit, you know? And then kind of maybe decide from there what comes out. Smudge this away. And smudge this away a bit. I also really want to smudge right here. Turn this down. This brow bone is going to come out right there. Just blend in these shadow lines. And I don't know, I think we're kind of getting somewhere here. This, I just kind of smudged here for, or put here for being a shadow for the hair. But I'm probably going to redo the hair, so. So if I'm doing that, then I should, you know, shadow this whole arm. Maybe a little extra shadow on these edges. And we smudge, 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 smudge. Okay. Alright, well, I think I'm really liking this so far. Experimenting with light is definitely something interesting. I should probably be even using an even redder tone than I already am, but I think I'm alright. So far. Okay, well, I think, oh goodness, I don't know what is going on with, there it is. This layer, it's making like a point on her neck here. So let's blend in that pointy neck. And for highlights, actually, I think I'm going to paint in a little bit of a highlight. Right there. This looks very, very muddy. I don't know why this looks so muddy right there. I'm just gonna paint some highlight onto here. Not go crazy. But I'm just gonna unmuddy this section here, especially since this is the side the light is hitting. It shouldn't really have these dark, muddy tones. So I think that addressed a lot of that. Okay. Voila, I think part 1 I think we can call part 1 complete. Basic shadows and highlights. Next, I want to move on to finishing touches, hair, and background. So finishing up the portrait. Yeah. What a long video. So I think this is well on its way to becoming a really cool portrait, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I hope you've enjoyed watching me plug away at this in Procreate. It's been about an hour and a half. I have to edit out some bumps that I made against the microphone on accident. What I am going to do right now is add a bit of highlight right here, because when highlight is right here, it looks really nice. And then we'll also add a bit more highlight to the boob, and we'll smudge the crap out of it so that it really diffuses out. And this as well. There we go. Smudge it in the wrong direction. Let me just back up a bit. Damn it. Sometimes, the smudge really, being able to smudge is so nice. It's such a fucking great thing to be able to do. But it pushes the paint around, really, so that might be a little too nuts. Drag it back in a little bit. Or maybe out a little, I don't know. There we go. That's fine, whatever. Okay. I'm happy with it. It's got a little ways to go. It looks crazy right now because the skin and stuff is all very detailed and the rest of it is not, so it will definitely get there. I think she's gonna look really, really good once I'm done. I want to finish it now, but man, I will literally be up till 8 in the morning. I don't know, I'll figure it out, and there will be a part 2 somehow. Okay, thank you for watching if you watched.